All right, welcome everybody. Happy Monday night. My name is Ellen, and this is Team Play Hard's weekly call. Oh, darn it. I like to always do a social media op, like a story. I'll do it once Holly starts talking. I like to do that before I record. So a couple of things, those of you guys that have been just sort of paying attention to some of the things going on in our team, Nick's baby boy, Rhett, is out of the woods. And so that's super awesome, answer to prayer. And speaking of prayer request, or however, the universe, whatever, I pray. Dana is without power in Georgia, and they need power to care for her son, Noah, medically. So that's a really big deal right now. Of course, she would be on. She's probably never missed a team call ever. So she needs our good vibes and prayers tonight. Okay, so to the matters at hand, we have a special guest tonight. I'm super excited. Where do I begin? So first, let me tell you, if you don't know Holly, you're probably new to our team. Holly is my upline. Well, technically, she's my upline. So I'm under Kelly Amos. Many of you know her. She's under Donna. And then Donna's under Holly. Holly's under Christine. Yeah, Holly's under Christine. So that's how far away we are from the Platinum Presenters family. And Holly's family is Team Fit Finances. And you guys know my family is Team Play Hard. And you guys are creating your own families. But we're all part of the large family together. What else do I want to say about Holly? This is a really big deal to me. I'm sure she wouldn't say it about herself, so I'm going to say it. She is not only in the Millionaires Club, she's in the Multi-Millionaires Club. And that is important to me because I don't think it's bad to talk about the fact that there's a real income opportunity here, and people can find real, significant financial freedom and wealth. And I hope Holly even touches on that maybe a little bit. If not, I'll just ask her at the end when we do Q&A about what that's meant for her family. She's married to Keith, and she has 2 little boys. And I know all these things about her, and she's a woman of faith. And I know these things about her because over the years, the 5 years I've been a coach, because she shows up to live events, because she lives in California, I live in Oregon, I keep seeing her and we stay connected. And I did a lot of my grassroots as a coach in her team, which is Team Fit Finances. By the way, if you're not in Team Fit Finances, you should join Team Fit Finances. And that's how I did some new coach trainings there repeatedly. Some business pushes there, had some Success Club partnerships there. In fact, that's how I know some of you guys, like Kim Coates and Leona, because Holly partnered us up. And so I feel a debt of gratitude. I know I'm talking a lot. It's not my team call. Tell me to stop talking, but this is important. I want you to know who's speaking to us tonight. I feel a debt of gratitude. I truly feel like, but for Holly, my life wouldn't have changed. But for Holly, you guys wouldn't be here tonight. Even though she never knew me, someone she knew someone that I knew. And that's how this business can truly touch and change lives. I really respect Holly because she doesn't need to work this business anymore. She doesn't need to do team calls, show up in her team page, do recognition reports. She doesn't need to go to live events. She doesn't. But she continues to work. She works really smart. So she has like virtual assistants. She's really where I want to be. Like I mean, I've been blessed financially by this opportunity, but I still have to work really hard and put in really long hours. And she's really at a place where she can do some, but really have balance and have time with her family. So let me see if there's anything else I wanted to say. I just think it's really important to stay connected to your uplines as you guys grow. So as you guys grow, and hopefully create your own empires, your own team pages, your own new coach trainings, and you leave my nest just like I left her nest. I hope there's always some reciprocity. That's one of the reasons that I like to do things and stay in touch to Holly, because I want that from you guys when you guys leave my nest. And when you guys have coaches that leave the nest, I'd like them to be a little bit connected to me too. So it's a great honor, and I'm going to close my mouth. Got my pen, got my paper. I'm going to mute myself. Holly, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm just blessed by all of that so much, Ellen, and blessed by you. And of course I knew immediately who Ellen was, because as soon as she started showing up and like doing the work in the trainings and everything, I was like, who is this girl? And she was one of the first phone calls that I made. I was like, hey, can you do one of our training videos? We're putting together this whole new training program. Can you do one of our training videos? And so she jumped in and was like, yes. And I think she even said, I'm scared to. I don't think I've ever done that, but I'm going to. And thank you. And she did amazing. And so it was just fantastic. So since then, I think that we've really been bonded. And even though you don't talk to, like I personally talk to Christine maybe like twice a year. No joke. Like I'll set up a phone call with her like twice a year. And it's always been like that. Because when you're a runner, you kind of don't need a whole lot of like hand holding with this business. You just kind of run. And so some of you are runners, some of you need a little bit more. That's okay. And so we're going to talk a lot about a lot of different things today. And I have six very important tips, points, bullets for you guys today. Basically, I am still in this, and there's a reason to that, and I'm going to get to that. I am still in this like wholeheartedly 1000%. But in all honesty, my goal starting this whole thing was to build a business that will continue to work even if I chose not to work. Does that make sense? So I wanted to create something that would create that residual income that we all hear about, that we all, that was probably a draw for many of you, was to have a residual income, something that is continuing to come in, even if you decide to take a break. And so, I kid you not, I worked my tail off, minimum the first 2 years, like straight, consistent, nose to the grindstone. That was really when I first hit my first benchmark. I was able to pay off about $50,000 of credit card debt, as well as some other stuff. Within the first 2 years, completely got out of debt, was able to, matched my full-time income that I was making at Powder Blue Productions, working for Brett and Shalene. I made good money, but I was able to match that plus everything else within those couple years. Couple years later, I was literally sitting at like 6 times. I'm working 10 hours a week, and I'm sitting at like 6 times what I'm making in all my other jobs, right? Because I still was doing presenting and fitness trainings, and honestly, I was like, what am I gonna do with all my time? I can't quit my job because I don't have enough. I would have too much time on my hands. So that's why I continued to stay with Brett and Shalene for so long. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. This business can do a lot for you, but it really 1000% depends on what you put into it and the consistency that you bring to the table. But that was one of my initial goals. But I also knew that I was not going to take my foot off the gas pedal for a minimum of the first 2 years, because my mentor told me it will take you 2 to 5 years to create financial freedom if you're consistent. So I was like, I'm tired of getting calls from people who want to repossess my stuff, and creditors and all of that stuff. I was tired of that. So I told my now husband, my boyfriend at the time, I'm going to get out of this debt in 2 years. And he was like, you are freaking crazy. He didn't tell me that at the time, but he thought I was crazy. And then we didn't know what we were doing. Long story short, within 2 years, we were able to do that. And with his help. Okay. So I'm going to get into a little bit of that too. But my goal was to build a business that I could walk away from, stop working, and it will continue to run like a well-oiled machine. Now, there have been points in my life where I have had to stop working my business, but thank God for those first, honestly, 4 years that I worked consistently, like day after day after day, so I could take that time. When we had our first son, I barely worked that first year. When we had our second son, I barely worked his first year. We're just coming out of it. He's almost 16 months now. So I'm like just now getting like really back into the game, and it feels so good. And it feels so good and so amazing. And but my goal is I wanted to build something that could, it's almost like when you're raising children, right? You eventually want them to be able to go off on their own and to be like responsible human beings. And so that was kind of like my goal with this business. I wanted to bring people in and teach them how to do this the smart way, the right way, and how to do it effectively in order to, if they need to stop working for a year, 6 months, 3 months, they can. And their paychecks will not be affected by it. And so that was always my goal. And I'm happy to say that we did achieve that. Why am I still in this? Because I love you guys, because I love the challenge, and because I know that the things that you don't water wither and die. So eventually I could just stop. I could. But 10 years from now, how would that business look? And how would that make me feel on the inside? Because I don't really feel good about bringing people in and then ghosting on them, disappearing on them. So let's get into the 6 tips. Number 1, what you have to do in order to really build a strong, solid foundation of a business that is going to last, okay? The first thing you have to do is you need to set expectations, okay? You need to set expectations. Think about, if you have a college education, how long did it take for you to get that? For me, it took 7 years. 7 years! To get through college, because I kept changing my mind. I just did all these electives and none of them counted toward my degree. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but that's okay. It took me 7 years. How much money? If I calculated how much money I put into that, how much time, how much effort, how many hours I spent reading, doing papers, etc., all of that is a huge investment of time. That was a marathon. This business is a marathon. You need to come at this with the idea of like, this is your 4-year degree. If you're like serious about this and you know going into it, your expectation is 2 to 5 years. It will take me 2 to 5 years in order to create financial freedom if I'm consistent. That's the key. It's not 2 to 5 years of toe in, toe out, toe in, toe out, toe in, toe out. It's 2 to 5 years of consistency. It doesn't even have to be 7 days a week. I used to say 7 days a week, but come on, let's get real. You do something 7 days a week, you're going to get burned out. So I encourage people 2 to 5 years, consistently working most days of the week, 5 days a week, not a whole lot of time, but consistency. That is going to bring you financial freedom. This is a marathon. It is not a sprint. If you sprint and stop and sprint and stop and sprint and stop, number 1, it's going to be very frustrating. And number 2, you're not going to get the results that you need because you're going to lose a lot of people along the way. Okay. So we have to set the expectation of immediately going into this of this is a 2 to 5 year journey minimum. And then hopefully I would have created something where I can stop, take months off if I really want to, take a week off here or there, and then get back into it. Okay. But with that, you also need to set expectations for others. And, my husband and I, we were just dating at the time, and I told him this is going to be very challenging. I'm going to be spending almost every weekend day, all day working on this because I have very limited time during the week. And I asked him, hey, do you mind cooking dinner every night? Would you mind playing with the dog so I don't have to take her for a walk? Like after I get home, because he normally would come over after work anyways. I'm like, can you do that for me so I can sit on the couch for 30 minutes and just get something done so it's consistent? And so we set those expectations, and I said, I know it's going to be hard, but please bear with me for 2 years. I'm doing this for us, for the future. I need 2 years of focus time. And that's what we did. So that's the number 1 thing is set expectations for yourself. Know that it's going to take time. The second thing is set expectations for those around you. Just because you jumped on the bandwagon doesn't mean that you should expect them to understand. And I actually did lose a lot of friends during this process. People stopped inviting me to things because I couldn't never go. I couldn't because I was working. And I couldn't justify taking the time away from my business in order to go to a bar or like go out for drinks or go do something frivolous. It had to be something that was focused. So that was the expectations. And you know what? The people who matter are still in my life. And then it just kind of weeded them out. You know what I'm saying? So know that. And then also what I want you to expect is you need to know that you're going to have to give something up. And so physically go through that exercise of what do I need to give up for the next 2 years in order to put my business at the forefront. Okay. Do I need to give up the magazines that don't mean anything? Do I need to give up 1 hour of television every night? Do I need to give up? What do I need to give up? Right. So set that expectation. The other expectation I really want to draw out for people, especially new people, and when you're bringing people on board, we're always afraid to scare people away, but I want you to be real with them and legit with them, is that the only way that they can build this business is it is a one-on-one personal relationship business. This is not, I'm going to throw 1 million posts up on Facebook and the world will flock. That happens after you've already established yourself. And I'm not even 100% there yet. It's still hit and miss. And I've established myself, right? So this is still it is a one-on-one business. So you need to know that going in. You need to have that expectation, all right? And if you still have like a hard time like going, okay, what do I need to give up? Then do a cost versus a benefit analysis going, okay, what's the cost of me giving up 1 hour of television every night? Okay. Can I take that down to 30 minutes? Whatever. Do a cost versus benefit and figure out, is this going to be worth it in the long run? Right. So you have to have that thinking. We're going to come back to long-term thinking in a few bullet points. Number 2, the second thing is your why. And I apologize if I'm going quickly, but I think that you guys are pretty sharp people, especially if you're getting on a call at this part of the evening. So you're sharp people. I think you can keep up. Point number 2 is your why must be layered. Your why must be layered like a thick onion, like so layered that it creates, it's almost like a brick house, right? If you just had sticks and they're just stacked upon one another and there's nothing holding them together, then the first wave of adversity that comes your way, they're going to topple over, they're going to fall. So your why must be layer upon layer upon layer. And I've touched on this in a couple team calls that I've done recently, but this is how you layer your why. Number 1, you ask yourself, what do I want? So I was like, okay, I want to get out of debt. Okay. And then what's the next layer? Why do you want to get out of debt? Well, I'm tired of people calling me, asking me for money. Okay. Well, why are you tired of that? Because it makes me feel slimy. It makes me feel like they don't know. So you keep going, why? Why? Like, why do you want that? Why do you want to get out of debt? Why do you want to get healthier? Why do you want to feel better? Why do you want? And you drill it down. You just keep asking yourself, what do you want? As much as you possibly can. What do you want? The second thing you ask yourself is, when do you want to get there? When do you want to get there? How will you get there? How will you get there? So you put those layers in, okay? So you build up all those whys. I want to be healthier. I want to feel better. I want to be there for my kids. I want to be around longer. All those things. I need to get my diabetes under control. Then you go, okay, when do you want to get there? And you put a timestamp on it. Then you go, okay, but why do you want all those things? And ultimately it's going to come down to happiness. It's going to come down to, what do you want to feel? What do you want to experience? What do you want in your life? Okay. That's another layer. Then you start to describe it. You write it out, you journal it. You think on the things that you want to achieve and accomplish. And why are those things? Because like I said before, you are building a brick house. You are building a brick house, a layered why, so that when things come your way, it's not going to fall over. All right. You create your why is so deep and so unshakable. And I don't even care if it's just, I want to travel with my family more. If that's your why, great. Dig deeper, dig deeper, dig deeper. Why is that important to you? Why are those things important to you? Okay. And then you meditate on it. You think about it. You post it in places. I would put it up on my mirror, wherever you're going to be reminded for it, on your dashboard, on your computer, wherever you're going to be reminded of it, post it. Post what your why is, what you are working to achieve. Okay. The third tip the third tip I have for you is to get ignited. Get ignited. This, my friends, is how you find motivation. You create motivation. You don't just get motivated. It doesn't fall in your lap. It doesn't happen to you. You have to create it. Nothing will motivate you. And I think that's a beautiful thing that Craig Holiday, he was I give a lot of my credit and success to him because he was the first person that I ever experienced building a team with. He was the person who sat across the table from me. I was, 9 months into this business. And he's like, how much money do you want to make? And I said, I have no idea. And he made me come up with a number. And I just kind of started throwing out numbers. And I'm not a number person. He goes, okay, $20,000 a month. Within 2 years, you need to be making $20,000 a month. And I was like, and I couldn't believe that he said that because I was like, that's not possible, right? But almost 2 years to the day that I met with him, that's what we were doing. And it was like, I looked back and went, oh my God, I did it. Why? Because I put it in writing. Because there's power when you put pen to paper. Your brain starts to figure out, how do I get there? How do I get there? Okay? Your brain starts to figure that out. So there's a lot of power in like Damon John. If you guys ever watched Shark Tank, I'm obsessed. Damon John, he was the original creator of FUBU, and since then he's gone on to do many, many other brands. But like one of the things that he talks about is one of the tricks that he does is every night before he goes to bed, he writes out his 5 goals for his life. So when he goes to sleep, he's meditating on them, and his subconscious mind is working out ways in order to figure out how to get there. Like, great. I'm not there yet. I need to do something like that, right? I still like lay on the, I just do that at night, but I need to do that. I need to do that. So you need to get ignited. How do you get ignited? How do you find motivation? You create it. And here is a tip from Darren Hardy I just saw a couple days ago. He's talking about like use your emotions in order to fuel your fire, in order to ignite your passion, in order to find your motivation. And he says, there is no better, actually, this is an extremely wonderful and powerful motivator, is anger. And you might say, Holly, what? But I think back to those early days, and I was pissed that I got totally robbed in my divorce. Honestly, that's what happened to me. I was pissed. I was pissed that I got I had so much debt. I was so mad that I was, at the time, well, how old was I? I was 27 years old and virtually having to start from scratch or start way below scratch. I was mad that I worked so hard to make a good, honest salary, and now I had nothing to show for it. I was pissed, man. And like every single time I got tired, I got a no, somebody turned me down, I just yielded it. I use it as fuel. And I wasn't mad at them. I was mad at my situation. I was mad that I let myself get there. I was mad that I made those horrible decisions and choices. And I was like, this will never be me again. It will never be me again. So I think back to those early days and I was like, I was angry, man. And I used that. And but you have to, obviously, you can't just go around all mad all the time. But I'm saying like, use that and fuel. So you have to be like, here's where you need to find yourself. Look at where you are in your health, your fitness, your business. And if you are okay with mediocre, then you're not going to get anywhere. There's no fire there. There's no passion there. But if you're like, you know what? I need to get off these last 10 pounds. For me, this is me talking to me. I need to get off the last 10 pounds. My baby's almost 16 months old. Why the heck? Me, I'm a fitness instructor. So if I get pissed about it, if I get frustrated about it, if I ignite enough emotion within my belly about this, then I'll actually do something about it. Okay? So I'm saying get ignited. Use those emotions. Get real with yourself. Be honest with yourself for who you are, where you are right now. And then be like, this is not okay. It's not okay for me to be mediocre. It's not okay. I want to live a life of incredible. And so how do I get there? Okay. So use whatever you need to in order to fuel that, and just refuse to fail. You can't accept defeat. You can't just be like, oh, well, next year. Oh, well, next month. That is not the mentality that you need to have in order to have a successful business. So you always go back to, what do you want? Okay. What do you want? And are you passionate about enough to get it? Does it mean enough to you to get it, to go after it? Okay. Number 4 is long-term thinking. Long-term thinking. And here's, I talked about the 2 to 5 year thing in the beginning. Okay. And initially we used to have this thing called the game plan, and it was 10 things. And we've now dumbed that down to just four things, the vital process. But literally it was 10 things. As long as you do these 10 things, you will be successful in this business. And the last one on that list was be here 1 year from now. So every coach that I bring on board, that I start, I'm like, you need to give this a minimum of 1 year. 1 year. If you're serious, you need to know that you have to at least consistently try to do this for 1 year. And if you do that, then you'll have success, right? But in the back of your mind, okay, if I'm going after like big success, this is like a 2 to 5 year plan. Okay. This is a 2 to 5 year plan. So you need to have long-term thinking. So here's how you help your long-term thinking. Write out all the things that you've decided to do today or tomorrow or any day. Whenever you sit down, by the way, please always work from a list, because just working willy-nilly, like sitting down and just answering whatever comes at you, that's not proactive. Okay. So I need you to be proactive and always work from a list, and start with that list. The most important things first. Okay. So look at your list, the one that you've crafted, and go, okay, these 5 things that I have on the list, or I'll make it simple right now. Say your list is, schedule your challenge group, right? Like get all the posts scheduled in your challenge group. The second one is invites. And then the third one is to check your email. Okay. So here's what you need to do is, based on that list of the 3 things that you need to do, you need to ask yourself, is this long-term thinking? Is this long-term thinking? And are the action items on my to-do list every single day going to result in my long-term goals? Right? So email to me is only there to get answers from people that I'm waiting for, right? So most of my email, I've got thousands in there, totally unopened. Who cares? Who cares? Here's what I do. I scan, I find the people that I'm waiting for answers for. The people that are, like in my close knit circle, and that's it. I don't feel the need to respond to everything all the time. So you want to look for only the important stuff. You need to just be able to filter. You got to be able to filter. Is this short-term thinking? Is this long-term thinking? Right? Remember that this is a business. Remember that this is a business. So we need to be able to weather the storms that come our way. We need to be able to know what's next. Like once you've already talked to your close-knit circle of friends, you've already talked to the 20 people that you had in mind, and oh yeah, you made a list of 100, but you're quickly getting through that one list. What's next? This is a business. Businesses do not survive without potential customers and clients. They don't. So we need to continuously be filling our funnel, continuously be, and I hate using those sales terms, but it's true. We need to continuously be building relationships and inviting people to the party continuously. So it's, how do you weather the storms? How do you do that? Like when you feel like you're kind of running out of options, the way that you do it is you go back to step 1, 2, and 3. You go back to your expectations. You realize what your expectations were. You go back to your why. It's layered. It's a brick house. It's not going to blow down when adversity comes your way. And then the third thing is you get ignited. You get pissed. And you say, because here's a good example for you guys. Team Cup month, this last month, I struggled. I hit my 10, which was like my goal for Team Cup, my Success Club 10 points. But it was a struggle because the previous 2 months I'd been focusing on other projects. And so I was even telling my team, I'm like, I am paying for it right now. The momentum that I lost over the last 2 months because I'd been focusing on other projects in my business. I mean, all stuff moving us forward, but I was mad. I was mad about the fact that I'd let that kind of slide. You know what I'm saying? Because it was hard for me to build that back up again. So you go back to 1, 2, and 3. That's how you're going to weather the storms. And you know what? You know, one of the things that really it almost like suffocates people is they have this underlying fear of like, what if I do all this work and it doesn't work? Like, what if I try for a year and nothing happens? What if, you know, all these things, all these emotions, everybody has them, by the way, everybody has them. But my mentor used to say to me, you know what? It might not work. What if it does? Like, what if it does? Here are all the things that you're going to lose in the process. Yeah, you're going to lose a couple bucks because the majority of what you're spending, you're ingesting. So you're actually gaining on your health and fitness, right? You might lose a couple friends because maybe you did it wrong in the beginning. Everybody kind of does. Like, but those weren't real friends. But what could you possibly gain? If you're working on personal growth and all that stuff, you are going to gain so much knowledge, so much freedom. You are going to learn about yourself. You're going to have better relationships. You are going to learn so much, and you're going to become so much more through the process. So it's like, what if it doesn't work? But what if it does? And even if it doesn't really work to your standards, you are still going to experience better health and fitness. You're going to experience a team of people who will cheer you on, a great environment to be a part of, and you're going to experience personal growth and development. You're going to be a better person because of this business. So think about that. The work that you put in will not fall flat. I guarantee you it's going to benefit you in so many different areas of your life, important areas of your life. So, you know, just because you don't know what the outcome will be doesn't mean that you shouldn't begin. Okay? Just because you don't know what the outcome might be does not mean that you shouldn't start. And it does not mean that you shouldn't stick to it. And I tell people all the time, the first 30, 60, 90 days, you're not going to see it. You probably won't. But the next 30, 60, 90 days, that's when you start to see the bulk of your work. The problem is most people, they don't go into this with that long-term thinking. They go into this with, here's the 5 people that I'm going to talk to. Oh, 4 of them shut me down. This doesn't work for me. Okay? And be aware of that. Be aware of that. And, you know, another thing with expectations is you need to be realistic and know that 1 in 10 people that you talk to will be ready for what you have at that point in time. But then 1 in 10 people that join your team will actually run with this. And it's just, that's how the world works. 10% or the top like 5 or 10% of the world hold most of the wealth. And it's because it's the people who run, right? So if you have 10 people on your team and you only have 1 person who's like really, really running, that's just math. There's nothing wrong with you. That's just math. That's how it works. That's how this business works. So you just have to keep inviting, keep putting people into the business, keep training. You keep extending that olive branch. And I found that like 50% of the people who I sign say they want to work the business, and only about 25% actually do something. And then, like I said, about your top 10% will be like the people who become your diamonds. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as you have those numbers, those expectations ahead of time, and you're not expecting to sign 10 people and go 10-star diamond, then you're good. It's okay. So let's see. Hang on. Let me make sure I get everything in there. Yes. The other thing about long-term thinking is everything you do, ask yourself, can this duplicate? Can I teach my coach, my new coach, how to do exactly this? And so the things that duplicate, using videos to share the story, using testimonials to share a story, using presentations that are pre-recorded to share the business opportunity. Those things can duplicate. What cannot duplicate is doing a business presentation yourself, putting on a large event, doing, you know, having, just think about your brand new coach that you sign. The only things you want to teach and help them learn how to do are the things that will duplicate. Okay. let's go on to point number 5. Point 5 is to be honest with yourself. Oh, ouch. What? I know. But you have to be honest with yourself. That's the only way you're going to get anywhere. If the reasons why your business isn't succeeding have to do with someone else, something else, or circumstances, something that is beyond you, then you will not move this forward. I promise you that. So you have to learn how to be honest with yourself, okay? And I'm talking to people who are like, I hope you guys know that no matter what stage of the business that you're at, like, that's cool. Like, I am fine with the people who just want to get their discount. I am cool with the people on my team who just want to who just want to sell a product once a month, and they're like, wow, like, I'm cool with that. Like, and we're going to get to that in the next point, actually. I'm cool with that. That has nothing. What I'm doing is I'm talking to the people who are like, I want to go after this, and I want to, like, a huge piece of the freaking pie. Like, I want to make this huge. So here's how you do it. So when you have a coach who wants to know how to do it, this is how you're going to teach them how to do it, okay? So you need to be honest with yourself. You need to know that you can only control what you can control. You can control your actions. You can control your thoughts. You can control your development. So the first thing is to know your strengths, know your weaknesses, right? Know where you need personal development and commit to developing yourself. Commit to it. And I tell it, so lots of people buck me on this. Reading and audio and video, it's all different. You take information differently when you're watching it. You take information differently when you're reading it. You take information, this is reading, this is listening. You take information differently when you're reading it. It's totally different. Your brain works different. Your brain works differently when you do each of those things. So I have had lots of coaches who are like, oh, I'll only do audio. And I will say, a lot of times, my experience has been they don't move as quickly. Okay. I hated reading, you guys. I hated it. And when I finished college, I said I'd never read again. I swore it off. I said the only thing I'll read is my Bible because I know that's important. But when when Craig Holiday told me you need to read, and Christine Dwyer told me you need to read, and Shalene Johnson, she kept buying me books and I never read them. And I was like, when do you expect me to read? I'm running your company, right? I just didn't get it. It took me years. It took me years to get it. But it makes sense now. It just took a long time to sink in, but you need to read, okay? And the other way that you're going to be honest with yourself is you must find a system of tracking exactly what you're doing in your business. And I'm not talking about, I'm talking about either using the business activity tracker or using Teamzy or using Streak or some way that you can track everything that you do in this business. And I'm even like how much audio you listen to, how much training you do, how many pages you listen to. You need to know if you're off track, because 6 months from now, if you're not getting anywhere, you need to know why. Okay, let's look at how many pages I've read over the last 6 months. Let's look at how many podcasts I've listened to over the last 6 months. If you don't have a way to measure that, there's no way for you to know how to shift and how to course correct. That's really critical. Okay? So you have to know that you need to be honest about the number of invites you're doing, the number of follow-ups you're doing, because now with social media, especially, we have it's like social media ADD. Everybody has this. Like, our attention span in the last 50 years has shortened from like 50 seconds to 12 or something like that. It's ridiculous. So we have like seconds to catch people's attention. So we need to follow up with them more. Statistics used to be follow up 7 times and then you might get a sale. Now it's 10. So that means that if you're not tracking those follow-ups, you're not going to be able to know if you're on number 10 or number 2. If you give up after 2, you're just priming the pump for somebody else to come along and steal your thunder, right? And to sign that person. Okay, number 6. Here's the last point. The last point is your goals are your goals. They're yours. They're not your uplines. They're not your sidelines. They're yours. So no matter what, at the end of the day, what you want to experience, the feelings that you want to have, the life that you want to create, the activities that you decide to do in your business, they have to align. Otherwise, you're not going to feel good inside. You're not going to feel like it's a good fit, and it's not going to last. You won't stick. So you need to know, like, a lot of people have a goal of hitting elite. I think that's amazing. At this point in my life, that is not my goal. And I'm okay with saying that. And man, I am an ego-driven performing maniac, right? Like, I talk to my therapist about this every time I see her. And I am like, I need to release this idea that I need to perform all the time, because who is going to be like, Holly, I can't believe that you didn't, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, she goes, are you doing everything you can do? And this was initial conversations, are you doing everything you can do? Well, yes, in order to stay in line with my goals and my values right now, I want to be here. I want to be the number one person in my kids' lives, because pretty soon they're not going to be here. So can I focus on something bigger and something that's going to be harder in the future? Yeah, maybe, sure. But right now, you got to focus on your goals, okay? So they need to align with your values. What are your goals? What are your values? Now, here's where we can get tripped up. And I've had this before, where I've had people tell me the reason that they want to do the Beachbody business is because they want to, they don't want to go back to work because they have a child at home and they have a baby on the way. So the reason that they want to join the Beachbody business is to do this. They want to learn how to do this. And I tell them, okay, it's going to be work, but within a year, we should be able to make up, and I help them figure it out mathematically. If we work consistently within a year, we should be able to make up that part-time income so you don't have to go to work, so that you can stay home. You don't have to worry about the money of daycare, Like, we work that out. So there's a point where we have to be honest with ourselves and go, okay, if my true goal and my true value is to be home with my children, and somebody says to me, okay, well, I decided to get a full-time job and I need to give up Beachbody because my family is the number one priority. I have to go, whoa, back it up. What is your long-term thinking? What is your long-term goal? Because you can't kind of hide behind, does that make sense? Like, sometimes we go, well, my goal is to not feel stress. So this is too much stress. Well, no, sometimes you have to put your nose to the grindstone. You have to do the work now in order to see the result later. Is this making sense? Because my goal initially when I started this business was to get out of debt so that I would feel less stressed, so that I would never have that again. So that was my goal. But did I feel stressed during those 2 years of really working my freaking tail off? Yes, I did. I did. Was I busy? Did I have to give up a lot of sleep? Yes. But it's like, what are you willing to put in? Because I knew what my ultimate goal, my ultimate value was, right? Put the work in now so that I can be there. And this would be a whole different story for me if I was just now starting this business and my kids are home and my goal was to stay home with them. It would be a whole different story. I work my business differently than you guys will. But you need to know what your personal definition of success is, and that is going to help guide you, okay? So my personal definition of success was no debt, no stress. I wanted to take my time back. I wanted to be in control of my time. I didn't want to have to work every single weekend like I was. I didn't want to, but I knew there was a time limit on that. I knew it wasn't going to be forever. It's just a short time. And in the grand scheme of things, it's like if you equate it to going to work or something like that, or going back to school. In the grand scheme of things, it's just like a couple years. And then you can scale back everything else in your life. It will be worth it. Again, cost versus benefit analysis. So your vision for your life, where you want to go, what is your goal? What is your goal? And they need to align with your values so it feels right. Okay. So sometimes we just need to adjust our timeline and go, okay, this doesn't feel right, but my timeline is 2 years. Let's just tack a year on, and I'm going to adjust it just 20 minutes less a day. And let's give me 20 minutes more or whatever. Right. So here's when you're brand new getting started, though, this is what you should do. Everybody needs to do this. When you're brand new getting started, you're going to use the company's benchmarks in order to keep you on track. Success Club, right? Elite points, leadership ladder. You use the company's benchmarks in order to keep you on track, because that's how you know that you're consistently building. And if you hit Success Club 5 every month, you'll increase your bottom line by like $140 every single month. And then plus you have all the residual income of all the Shakeologies and performance stacks, et cetera, coming in too. So that is working toward your goal, right? So use the company's benchmarks as your starting point. And that will help you to go, okay, how do I course correct? How do I adjust? You know, there was a point in time when Success Club first came out. I was actually working to build my husband's business center because I needed to break a new diamond. Everybody's business is going to look a little bit different, you guys. So maybe you need to, get your upline involved and say, can you help me look at my volume? Can you help me look at my business? Can you help me look at where I need to place my next business builder? Am I building this correctly? But everyone's business is going to look a little bit different depending on placement, depending on timing, depending on whatever, your rank, the people that you have on your team. But use the benchmarks as the starting point, and then you can start to, build your like ideal work schedule, your ideal life from there. Because I wasn't working my ideal life when I first started this business. Trust me on that. But that was the goal. That was my 2-year plan. That's what I had my sights on. Finally, none of this is going to work. None of it is going to work if you don't have the integrity like within you to make yourself do the things that you don't want to do when you don't feel like doing them or when you feel down, right? So we build everything up, right? Those points 1, 2, and 3, those are the things that are like going to help to keep you going. But at the end of the day, nobody's looking over your shoulder. Nobody's going, hey, did you clock in? You're not going to fire yourself, but your integrity means everything in this business. And it's all about like who you are. Like nobody's watching, right? No one's watching you. Does it matter that you didn't squat as low as you could? Does it matter that you forgot to drink your shake today? Does it matter that you didn't actually weigh yourself this morning or whatever your goal is? Does it matter? It should. I would hope that you hold yourself to a high enough integrity to say, I'm doing this for myself, my family, and then it extends out from there. So my final thing is the reason that I still do this business is because of that. Every single thing I do to the nth degree, because I don't want to live a life of mediocrity. I want to live an amazing life. I want to feel good about myself and what I've done at the end of the day. And so that's why I'm still here. 9 years later, we don't have to work. I'm still here. And I'm on a call. My kids are going nuts upstairs. My husband's having a hard time. I can tell. I'll get up there in a second. He'll be fine. But the reason that I'm still here is because I 1000% believe that people join your team because they want a piece of you. They want to be with you. They want to work with you. And I don't believe in quitting on people. I will never quit on anybody. I just won't. So like people join your team, don't quit on them. Be there for them and guide them, mentor them, help them, walk them through, right? If you don't want to help people, don't build a team. That's okay. Just sell product. That's cool. But you can build a team, and that's going to create that residual walk away income for you. All right. So, Ellen, any questions, or do you want me to do a quick recap? I think we did pretty good on that, right?
Dude, there is like nothing that you said that I could say better or recap better. So you do your recap. I mean, I'm just like, drop the mic. You just hit every nail.
I'm just kidding. And like, this is what I did last night. Like you guys mean the world to me. You're important to me. And so last night after I put Cole to sleep, I came down here and I've been working on it for a week, right? I've been working on it for a week. Things that I really wanted to deliver. But I came down here and I sat down for an hour and I thought through this process and I looked back through old notes and I just was like, what can I give? I tried to make it to 5, but I did 6. So number 1 was to set expectations. The second was layer your why. It's got to be layered. Build a brick house. The third was to get ignited. You got to create motivation. Number 4 was long-term thinking. So if you're like sitting down and you're like, let's just see what happens on Facebook today, or maybe I should just think of a post real quick. No. No more, no longer. Everything you do starts with long-term thinking. Okay. My poor husband. I was like, what are you doing right now? I'm always asking him that. Like, well, do you think that's the best use of your time? The kids are sleeping. Don't you think you should be doing something? He lives with a Nazi, friends. Just be glad that you don't live with me. Number 5 is to be honest. To be honest with yourself about who you are, where you need to improve, and where your business is at, and tracking your business. And then the 6th thing is to remember that your goals are your goals. And you have to align your goals with your personal values. Okay? And that is going to keep you in the game. All right? So thank you. Do you want to open up for questions? I'm all, whatever you want to do, honey.
I do, or even just comments, questions or comments about any of that, you guys. Kristen?
How did you know? Holly, I just wanted to say thank you. I have like 4 pages of notes and I can't wait to go back and listen to this again and take more notes.
So, thank you. Yeah. No, that's fantastic. I'm like blushing right now. I don't know if you guys can tell. So.
I am too. It's okay.
Holly.
Hey.
Hi there.
I know you. This is my dad, you guys.
Hi, everybody. On question number 1, it says, do you tell new people, prospects that you're working with as far as the business end of it is concerned, do you tell them how long it's going to take in the beginning of your opening conversation with them?
Well, no. But only because initially you want to find out is what do they want, so if they just want to get healthier, if they just, you know what I mean, like 1,000 every presentation goes off of what do they want. That's the first thing. Like, what do they want out of their life? What do they want to get? And then when we get real, we get to the point where we talk about I do get to the point in the presentation where I talk about residual income and I talk about how it takes time. And I draw it out on a little table for them. And I say, this is like, we'll pretend this is your 5-year plan. And I do tell them that. You guys, I think you'll see this in reverse. I think. Okay. So I tell them this is your 5-year plan. And I do like the time versus money thing. And so like in the beginning, you put in a lot of time for a little bit of money. But as you go through, eventually you'll be putting a little bit of time for a lot of money. So 5-year plan, financial independence within 5 years. I quickly do that. I let them know if that's their goal. If that's not their goal, I don't go there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, great question. Thanks. Someone's in the chat.
Oh, someone's in the chat.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Adele. Oh, yes, definitely take the baby to bed. So she's taking the baby to bed. That's cool.
Sherry, Jake, Marie, anybody?
I know.
Actually, I do.
Go for it.
Who's going next?
Sorry, there's a kid in the movie in the background. But Holly, I've really appreciated following your story with Cole, because my little one is 19 months old. And I'm glad that you mentioned getting ignited again, because that's been one of my biggest struggles since having her. And so watching you and your story and how you've come along with Cole, I'm encouraged, and I'm glad that you get pissed off too, because I need to be pissed off again. And I think I'm finding it. So thank you so much for being so open with your story and your experiences.
Absolutely. And that, I think that's the thing, is you're going to draw people to you by how honest you are. That's really important.
Yep.
Okay, Holly, I have a very practical question. I'm going to take advantage since there are some amazing coaches on this call. So, very practically, you go through your list of 100 and then you find your core people right off and you hit the ground running and then you feel like you've exhausted that. And I hear this over and over again. You just got to go out and find people. You got to keep inviting. What do you do if you feel like you have splattered all over your sphere of influence and you are not, who else do you go to? I mean, I'm getting to that point where I feel like I am right up against the edge of I'm going to have to go get a hobby that I don't have in order to meet other people. And I feel that way also because I work a full-time job that's very demanding. I'm out of my house 11 hours a day, 12, 13 hours a day. And I cannot promote this to my coworkers. It is strictly forbidden. I have to quietly, they ask me questions, and if they ask me questions, I'll answer, but I can't do any kind of reaching out to them. That would be a no-no in my position. So I can't even use that 13 hours a day. So what do you do if you feel like you're going to get to the edge of those people that your market is going to get cold really quick?
Yeah. So you do have to get creative, and you have to start making a lot of friends, like a lot of friends. On Facebook, on Instagram, get really good at the social platform that you are in and figure out how to find people and start engaging with them. But the other thing that's going to help you tremendously, and the reason that I love Teamsy is because I feel, like during Cup, I was using it, I always use it. But I'm in and out, to be honest with you, like whenever I'm really promoting something. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like even today, I went in there today, I was like 94 follow-ups. Like I'm so behind, right? But here's the deal. Like I would feel right now like I have no one to talk to because they're not in here. They can't live in here. But because I've been tracking, I know I have 94 potential customers, coaches waiting for me. And so that is a big one that's really helped me. And a lot of those people, I'm like, who the heck is this person? I'm supposed to follow up with this person? Like, wait, so I have to look in my notes and go, where have I talked to this person? Oh, that was a text message. Okay. And then I have to go back and kind of retrace the convo. But I think that's been my saving grace. I think it's worth the $30 a month because it helps me to know that I'm not out of people. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is, like I said, get really good at your social platform and figure out savvy ways to meet new people there. So whatever that is, dive in deep. So if it's Facebook or Instagram or however, but dive in and figure out, how do I make new connections in this network? Because that is going to be, the best way to do it. And of course, while you're out and about, the last thing I want to do is talk to somebody in the grocery store line, but just making conversations. I'm an introvert. I don't like to do that. I'd rather hide behind an email, but you got to take advantage of those situations too, when you are out and about, and just never know, what might happen and what might come from it. But that's the thing. You just keep adding friends, just keep starting conversations. Maybe, I understand about your hobbies are probably right in front of you too. So you can always ask like the people who are closest to you, who know you best, like, hey, what do I talk about all the time? Maybe you talk about, I don't know, Fear the Walking Dead's coming back. So like whatever, or I really like Big Brother, so like whatever shows that you like, you can join those communities, join those groups. But that, it might feel weird at first, but that's one way to do it. Ellen, do you have anything to add to that, or anybody else? Because I know that's a big one people ask all the time.
I might have to mute myself because my dogs are flipping out right now. They were while Holly was talking. I do. I think usually when people say or feel like they've tapped their warm market, they haven't. Even the very cities we live in, even the teeny tiny postage stamps that I know some of my coaches live in, like postage stamps. I mean, really, there are so many people. Like when you go into the store, do you know everyone there, or to go out to a movie or go out to a restaurant? Like I do think we tend to feel like that fear of we're going to lose, run out of people. And so I would encourage you, Betty, you're pretty new to Instagram, right? You're pretty, yeah. So I've been following you, as you know, and I think you're really great on there, and I think you're barely scratching the surface. So I'll keep watching you, and I'll try to give you more practical advice, because I feel like I'm starting to understand how to find people like me finally.
Invest in an Instagram training for sure. For
sure. I am finding people like me that don't live near me on Instagram. So I'll keep watching you, getting to know you better, and maybe I can offer you some insight there. But I guarantee you haven't tapped your warm market. I don't do Teamsy. I love that Holly gave you that advice. I love that I'm going to give you different advice. Even our memory jogger will get your brain going in a different way. That's something I literally will like redo that memory jogger like annually. It's something that if you haven't done for a little while, you should do it again, because it'll spin your mind in a different direction. And then sometimes it's just that we're all like creaky about inviting. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. I'm trying to talk fast because my dogs, I know there's like a wild turkey out there right now. My husband is like, when he gets up in the morning, his lower back hurts. And then his feet kind of hurt. And then after a little while, they don't hurt at all anymore. And he has a very physical job right now. Anyway, it's creaky and painful for me when I start on it, like in my inviting binge for the day, or sometimes I pocket it in like 3 pockets of a few hours a week. It's painful. It's creaky. It's stiff, and I'm awkward. But then after then I'm in the groove. I'm like, boom, 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 boom. And I'm inviting, and it's comfortable, and I'm talking, and it's easy, and it's getting easier, and it's kind of fun. And what was I so scared of, and what was so painful? You just have to like get over that creakiness. I know that's not exactly, where'd you go? People are hopping off, and now you move. Betty, did Betty go? Is Betty gone?
We might have lost her.
Darn it. Well, I'm going to finish. I did have another thought too about, shoot.
She's still there.
Oh, good. Oh, there she is. Okay, my last thought is, you just have to keep doing what you're doing anyway, even if, and I'm sure this is not going to happen to you, but let's pretend your market dries up, and let's pretend you're not adding to your market, which I'm sure you are. Even the people that are hearing you and seeing you now, they're still going to come to you. They just don't ever do it. They just don't ever do it when you want and when you expect. They only will do it when they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. They're only going to do it when they catch their reflection, or they see a company photo of them, or they whatever, when they're ready. For Sherry up in the upper right-hand corner, took me 5 freaking years. She wasn't ready until she was ready. So there's people in your life right now, Betty, that are watching you that are going to join you. I promise. Unless you jump ship, which you're not going to do. But
no, I have it in my, there was a team call, I think it was a couple weeks ago, and somebody was on it, and then don't quit. And I wrote it in big block letters. Don't quit. Even when you think that, you get discouraged, or you're slowing down a little, don't quit. Because I keep hearing that is that you can't let those little setbacks, affect my long-term dream, which is, to be financially independent and not have to ride the train and go to work 12 hours a day. So keep that in my mind. So it's just tough, you get to a point and you think, oh gosh, how do and then I rack my brain, and okay, I find 3 more people, and I think, God, and I hear this on the call, I find 10 more people, I find 20 more people, and I guess I'm just not as good at it yet. I'm trying. And I see my colder market building, but that builds slowly. It's onesies, twosies. These are people that they're slowly bringing in, I started out with 10 followers on Instagram. I don't know what I have now, but it's not 10 anymore. So, but that builds slowly. For somebody like me, that's tough, because damn it, I want it right now. I want to see 1,000 people. Darn it, how do I get to 1,000? And I realize that just takes time. And that's hard for me, because I really want, I'm going 200 miles an hour. I want everyone to go 200 miles an hour with me. It's hard. Just feel like I'm pulling them, they're all on my net, I'm pulling them along. I'm just.
Your struggle is all of our struggle. It really is. We all have that same struggle. And I like one of the sentiments of this team call tonight, that this business is hard.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Hard, but works. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's simple, but it's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's worth it. Yeah. That's the thing, is like, it's worth it. Anything in your life that you've ever worked hard for, Like, that's amazing. Like, it's such a good feeling when you work hard for something and accomplish it. It's amazing. When something comes easy,
Yeah.
you stick to it.
And so when George asked about, like, do you have that conversation right away? I was going to say, sometimes I kind of do. It depending. I love Holly's answer was the best. I start with, what do they want? What do you want? That is where we need to start. Sometimes I'm like, I do want them to know that if I feel like what they want is the income opportunity, I want to let them know, like, it does take a lot of hustle, a lot of work. I gave up a lot of sleep my first few years, a lot of hustle. Most of it I really loved doing. It was rewarding intrinsically. It was rewarding physically and physiologically, rewarding as a human, as a woman, but still very much work and a dedication and a commitment to, and many sacrifices made. So I like to say that sort of reverse psychology sometimes in the beginning. So I kind of am like, think about it. Maybe you're not cut out for it. It's a lot of work. Sometimes that works. They're like, what? I want to be cut out for it. I'm just kidding. That sounds like I'm manipulative. No, I just don't want to bring people on under the pretense that it's get rich quick, because I do think, and Eric Worre suggests this too, that in network marketing that can be a misconception, and it's so unfortunate for everyone involved. Something else I say, and this is the last thing I'm going to say tonight, something else I really like to say when I'm trying to potentially date or prospect or enroll a coach is, I don't want to waste my time or yours. I'm going to be investing in you if you decide you're going to do this. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste your time. So I want you to know what you're signing up for. A lot of fun, a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Cool. Thank you, Ellen, for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. We went really long, but gosh, it was dynamite. So it was like three team calls all balled up into one.
I'll try to talk quacker. I'll try to talk quacker next time. Quicker next time. Like, I'm just kidding.
Perfect. It was perfect. All right, you guys. We'll let you guys go. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And we'll see you guys in our respective team pages.